Hey, it's the Bradcast, and I'm here with Terry Farrell. Terry, how are you?
I'm really good. Thank you very much.
So you may know Terry from Star Trek and various variations. However, she has a vast IMDb listing. I'm going to start from the back end that I didn't realize. Hellraiser 3?
Yes, Hellraiser 3. Yes, I was very proud of that. I really loved the first one, and I loved how, because I was a big horror fan growing up, and I just thought it was disgusting and brilliant all at the same time. And so I was reading for a movie Tony Hickox was directing called Waxworks 2, and right? Was it?
To me, I don't like.
Oh. Well, I had just bought a house and I needed to work on it. So at the time it was like, you know what? It's not enough money for me to do, but what's your next project? And he said, Hellraiser 3. And I'm like, oh my God, is there a part for me in it? He said there might be. So I'll get back to you when we're done with. So a year later, he kept his word, and I came in and read for Joey Summerskill for Hellraiser 3, and obviously I got it. And then a year after that, when we were doing some last-minute pickups and all of the ADR, because we had to re-record like 90% of it.
Really?
Yeah, and I wasn't good at it then. It really bummed me out because I thought I was better in the original, and it's definitely an art to ADR. And doing Deep Space, we got really good at it because you do it every week for the show, right?
Sure.
But at that point, I didn't have all that practice, right? It was really, way different. And it's like a year after you've done the performance. Right, so you're not in anyway. But then I got Deep Space Nine, and so they added a scene with the bondage at the end. Yeah. I was already doing Deep Space, so my hair was dark. So that's why my hair is dark in the very end. It's sort of a weird little.
It is. Well, you know what?
Not everybody picks up on it, but for me, it felt glaring when the movie came out. It was like, oh my gosh.
Well, but there was such a... You transitioned so much from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie anyway, so people probably didn't notice it that much.
That's true.
You were cognizant of it because it's you looking at you.
Right.
Right?
Oh my gosh, I was blonde at the beginning of this movie.
So, at the beginning of your career, you dealt with comedians.
Yes, I did.
How was it working with, Rodney Dangerfield?
It was great. I actually didn't have a scene with him. My scenes were with Billy Zabka and Keith Gordon, of course, who starred in as Rodney's son, who's now a great director, and this guy who some people have heard of, this Robert Downey Jr. guy.
Who was not that famous then.
No, well, his father was, sure, but it was really fun. I mean, we're all exactly the same age, and all of us took our GEDs. None of us finished high school because we were performers. So it was this fun camaraderie that we all had. And, of course, Sally Kellerman was amazing to hang out with. And Burt Young was also amazing to hang out with. They kind of, I don't know, it was just really fun.
So you've done a lot of really interesting one-offs, but the one thing that I remember seeing you more, and it was very surprising for me because Ted Danson to me I always think of as Cheers, but you worked with Ted Danson in Becker. What was it like? Because you were like the only sane person on that show. Right? Everybody else they're in their own little world, and you were the one trying to keep the world straight. What was it like working on Becker?
It was really a big challenge at first because I know it sounds kind of silly to say, but being a hero playing Dax and then playing a woman who can't even make a good cup of coffee, it's funny. In a sitcom for the pretty girl to not be as smart or she was petty, she was jealous, she couldn't make coffee, but she owned a diner, right? So there were all these kind of like,
do stuff and they can't do what it is their business is.
That's okay. So that part was kind of hard. Like the ADR example, well, it was very specific in deep space. We were in but for half hour, they just would write out loud in front of everybody, okay, we're just going to do a couple lines. Okay, Terry. And I was like, I felt so on the spot and embarrassed. I'm like, I'm used to it being dark and nobody's watching me and I can make a mistake. And suddenly I felt super self-conscious. So there are certain things, I would say almost like set etiquette. One thing for hour and another thing for half hour. I just wasn't prepared for some of the things that were different for me. And
well, Star Trek was never actually in front of an audience.
Oh no.
But right, but Becker could have been on an inside set where there was people there all over the place.
Not
Yeah,
like could have.
right. No. What I'm
But
saying
not-
is, the whole vibe, the whole energy of the space is different. Because one is cast only, and the other one is, oh God, who are all these people?
Well, no, not, oh God, who are all these people? There are people in the audience when you shoot the show, but on the daily, when there are people that are there that you don't know. But for me, just let me say that for me it was a difficult adjustment because I felt suddenly self-conscious about a lot of stuff that I wasn't self-conscious. In one dynamic, I know the rules. In this new dynamic, I don't know the rules. So I felt incredibly insecure. It took me a while.
Learning curve.
And then they let me go.
Right when you got it down.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how it felt. It felt like, no, what?
Right, but I'm just having fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what have you been doing lately? Besides Comic-Cons?
I quit my career to be an at-home mom. So that's been the last 19 years. Yeah.
You've been out of the spotlight for 19 years.
Yeah.
This all holds up so well.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, we're of an age.
We're of an age.
And to me, okay, I'm going to go a little fanboy. You're as beautiful standing in front of me as you were in any of these things.
Thank you.
So okay,
He's
so I've got a little.
crowded by the fanboy
I've got a little
complex.
gushy. What was I going to say? So, how do you like Comic-Cons? It's a thing.
It is a thing, and I think because of COVID, Netflix, and now, of course, I think on Paramount Plus, but I think our show is easier for people to track when you can binge watch, right? Because it's a lot of information, 1 hour of Deep Space Nine, and to not see it for a week, and then in the day when it was on, and then if you missed a couple of weeks, then you're kind of lost and like, wow, what's going on? So I think it's easier for people to track now. And I think our writers, Ron Moore and Renee Echevarria and, oh golly, now I'm embarrassed. His name went right out of my head. I have a sinus thing right now, you guys, so I'm sorry. Ira Bear, showrunner, Ira Bear, forgive me. They wrote so well character arcs and storylines and putting it out there, dealing with stuff that was super relevant. And it's crazy that it's still relevant today. So not unlike the original series, only a better set dressing, the technology was more on top of it. Still stands, it still holds up, right? Yeah.
Tell me about using a batleth.
Okay, what was great about that for me is all fight scenes are like dancing, right? And I'm not a dancer by any kind of training, but I was very athletic and not particularly good, but athletic, good hand-eye coordination, but not terribly graceful. But so what's great is Dennis Matalone did a great job, he and his team, of really just walking the steps super clearly, and we would rehearse it until we got it, and we did it really fast. I mean, it's kind of amazing how quickly that time period between us rehearsing and shooting it, but you do it in segments. So honestly, for me, if I could have been Laura Croft, female Indiana Jones. I always thought it'd be cool to be in the Peace Corps, to be an archaeologist, and to be a National Geographic photographer. So me, Terry, doing that stuff, that was me. For me, doing the bat lift, the adventure stuff, that feels like me. I left home at 17 in search of adventure. I took myself to Africa on safari for my 36th birthday. Yeah, so that to me that's my passion, is to see the world and meet people in it, right? Yeah.
Very nice.
So I don't know, do I get an agent or do I just start having, what's it going to look like now?
So when you're an empty nester again, you are? So,
I only had one.
Oh, okay. So is that why you're coming out and visiting us? Thank you very much for that, by the way.
You're very welcome. Well, it's our 30th anniversary, so I think for me, these things are making hay while the sun shines. If I get invited, I'm doing it. I got a new little house. It's tiny in New Mexico, and I'm an hour and a half drive from my parents. So
TNC or farther north? TNC, Las Cruces, or?
They're in Berlin. I'm in Santa Fe.
Oh. Do you know what? I went to Santa Fe once, went up the mountain, my entire sinus cavity completely drained out of my face, and I was in bed for 2 days. Oh yeah, it was horrible. I went up the mountain. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, they say it takes 3 months, and I at first I thought that's kind of dramatic, but after being there,
3,000 higher than Las Cruces. I was fine with Las Cruces.
yeah, up at 7.2.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
Yeah.
Terry, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
My pleasure. Thank
It's
you for
mutual.
wanting to talk to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
A lot of us are big fans. I'm maybe the third biggest. There's two actually larger than me. They make a lot of jokes. This has been the. Hey, he made a fat joke. What do you know about that? This has been the Bradcast with Comic Spirit Sci-Fi, and we'll see you next time.